Well guys, we did it. We made it to the end. Despite all the ups and downs, all the sabotage, all the gaslighting, and all the strategic planning to put ourselves on top, we have made it to the very end. This is the final chapter, and with that, the final video of this series. Now, since there's not a lot to talk about and it's only a single chapter, I'll give my thoughts about the series at the very end and just talk about my general thoughts. But before I start the commentary, the one thing I really need to say is I'm sad. I think Speedy had an absolutely brilliant idea when it came to the co-op series, and this is probably one of my favorite pieces of multiplayer competitive gaming-based content on YouTube in general. I looked forward to it every week, and it feels kind of weird writing this, knowing that I won't be writing or making another video for FE Co-op in a while, so I'm sad to see it go. But on the opposite, I'm very happy that we had another successful run that everyone enjoyed. Anyways, let's talk about the actual chapter. So the final chapter of Sacred Stones is honestly a fairly easy one. There aren't that many reinforcements until the end, and aside from the 2 Draco zombies, the enemies are really not that strong either. You can pretty much take your time getting through all the enemies on the map and then bum rush Leon and get rid of him. There are 2 chests that are alright, I guess. The one on the left side of the map has a Master Seal, which I don't know what you do with this on the very last chapter, but okay. And an Angelic Robe, which I guess could be useful to make a unit slightly bulkier for the final showdown against the Demon King. Aside from that, it's not very exciting, and there aren't any real gimmicks. In terms of positioning, I decided I'd go up the right-hand side. I don't have any particular reason, I just wanted to, so I put my units on that side and went with it. At this point, Ephraim has capped strength, speed, and skill, and has gotten pretty high stats in basically every other stat, so I can one-man army with him for the most part and just support with the rest of my cast. I have enough healing items and weapons and don't need to rely on any of the other guys to help me out. On the flip side, Speedy lost JaeAIK in the last episode, and so he only has Dozla to rely on and Arthur to do the heavy lifting for him. And while they aren't terrible, they won't rip through enemies like Ephraim will. Jay has Myrrh and Erica, and that's it. Literally, 2 units. Myrrh has limited Dragonstone uses, so she's fairly handicapped, and Erica is Erica. She hasn't gotten as many levels as Ephraim has, so she won't be too super during this map, though with enough EXP, she would eventually be a pretty strong addition. So anyways, we start the map and I go right while they both go left. While I comfortably bait and kill my Draco zombie with Ephraim, Speedy and Jay are getting up to shenanigans on the other side. As if he needed one last final hurrah, greedy Speedy came to play once more and he aggressively opened the door to the chest room with Rennick. I'm not sure if he forgot there was a Gorgon in there, or he just underestimated the damage, or he didn't even care at this point, but between doing that, baiting the Draco zombie, and not finishing off the rest of the enemies, he was in for a pretty bad time. Rennick immediately goes down to a combination of Bonewalker and Gorgon, and then the Draco zombie gets baited down to a Dozla that can't do any damage to him. I mean, come on. It wouldn't be a co-op run without a death or at least a struggle. I'm not saying it was exactly possible for Speedy to catch up, but I don't know, it's the finale. A pair of sabotages from him and Jay would at least make the score look closer, but I think we were all past that at this point. We're at the end of the run, we're trying to win, we're trying to not replay the map, but I gotta admit, it was mighty tempting to throw a sabotage their way and get a unit killed and trigger a domino effect of sabotages on the very last chapter. But that's only because I know Ephraim could probably solo it if need be, and we had to repeat it. So yeah, now the boys are stuck dealing with a Draco zombie that can really do a lot of damage and is hard to kill in return. Meanwhile, Ephraim is on the other side absolutely living his best life, mowing down enemies like there's no tomorrow. But back to the more interesting point, eventually, Jay realizes that between Erica and Myrrh, he can deal a significant chunk of damage to the Draco zombie and then finish him off. So Erica goes first, and then Myrrh deals the finishing blow, and that's it for that moment of tension. It was definitely an entertaining moment, and we got a Rennick death out of it. I guess my dream of having all the red units die came true eventually. The rest of the chapter boiled down to Ephraim slowly but surely mowing down hordes and hordes of enemies until he could get to Leon at the top. The 6 Gorgons at the top of the map made things a bit slow, but eventually I killed most of them, and then reinforcements started pouring out and kind of got in the way of me killing the last one. So I backed off and baited out the shadow shots and killed the reinforcements, grinding out EXP for my very last luck level up needed to cap the stat until the rest of the boys got here. Jae flies Myrrh up in range of Leon to chip him down so that I can finish him off with Ephraim, and almost as if it's a deja vu chapter 17 all over again, she crits Leon and sends him to the Shadow Realm. And by Shadow Realm, I mean he got sacrificed and absorbed by Zork the Demon King to bring him back to life, and now we have to fight him. The Demon King fight is always super short-lived. He's really easy to kill, and a max strength Ephraim easily 2-rounds him as long as you keep him healthy. Generally speaking, the Demon King should die by turn 2 at worst, otherwise something has gone horribly wrong. So we tried to do that until the Demon King spawned a bunch of enemies in our face, and one of them was a Draco zombie. You guys don't understand how tempted I was to sabotage Arthur into death, just to have one last death for fun. But Speedy was faster than me on the draw and he sabotaged to keep him safe. So congrats to Speedy. He's the only one of us who used all 3 of his sabotages, and hey, he kept his end of the bargain and did not sabotage kill any of my units. There were a ton of opportunities to get a unit killed on this very last map, but I think overall, we had a good run, and it was time to end it here. I was more than 120 points ahead, no one was catching up to me, and as much as I would have loved to do it for the content, I decided that this run would end with me only being responsible for killing red units. And so, just like that, Ephraim went in, like the MVP he is, and for the last kill of the run, he ended the Demon King once and for all. Ladies, gentlemen, emblems of all ages, thank you for watching this series through to the end. I wanted to thank you all for keeping up with this week to week, commenting, liking the videos, and just sticking around in general. I know I went on a little bit of a hiatus here, but those of you who were patient and waited and are watching even until now, thank you. My channel hasn't been the most active in the last year or so, and the algorithm is punishing me for it, so it was nice to get some consistency with this and provide some entertainment for you all with something that I genuinely love doing. If you all like the journey, all I ask is to give me a like and comment below what your favorite part was. And if you have friends that would enjoy this, there's a playlist of all the episodes on my channel and in the description that you can just send them. So Sacred Stones is over, and that's another co-op in the history books. This is the 3rd one we've done, and I want to talk about what I thought of this run overall. I'll start with the rule set, and the limitations we set for ourselves with this run. The full set is in the description, but I think by banning Seth, setting it to hard mode, and giving ourselves the 3 sabotages, we really kicked it into high gear with increasing the difficulty, both by allowing the game to show us its innate power, but also screwing each other over, and that's the most fun part. It felt like we had more power, but also more to fear after every move we did. So I genuinely think that we did a fantastic job fine-tuning the rule set and scoring system. When we initially did it for FE7, I think we overestimated how hard the game would be and played on normal while also allowing Marcus to run rampant in the early game, which decreased the difficulty in the most important parts of the game. It also meant that some of the early game units got to see less action and less spotlight, which absolutely was not an issue here, as I think every single unit in the game had a chapter they were deployed on. Speaking of which, this kind of run really makes you appreciate the full cast of Sacred Stones and see the value in each and every one of them. Now, this doesn't really apply to me with Sacred Stones since I've had a save file from way back when I was a kid where I have every single unit in the game at 2020 and have every single stat capped because I'm a raging lunatic. But when your choices are limited to 1/3 of the roster, you learn to make use of every single unit that's given to you. Even if I didn't want to use Amelia, for example, I can see the value of drafting her to recruit her for the speedwing she comes with to give another unit, or heck, even recruiting her to block access to that from one of my competitors. Thieves, while sometimes taken for granted in regular FE games, suddenly have their value skyrocket because of their ability to provide funds and extra weapons to your own personal team that you'd be kind of stuck on without them. Healers are also in an interesting position because while they're also underrated, having healing economy is great since it lets you patch up your units after combat, stay healthy, and not have to worry about incoming sabotages as much, despite them being a double-edged sword and easy to get killed. Now for some viewer interaction. I want you guys to list what your opinions are at the following moments in the series and leave them in the comments below for me to see. I can leave mine as well and pin it in the comments below for you guys to see too. Trust me when I say your opinions actually highly matter. and they help us figure out what the best content was from this in terms of figuring out our future runs. I want to hear about your favorite Sabotage, what you thought was the most stressful map, as well as a general favorite and least favorite. And of course, it wouldn't be a community event without you guys letting me know who you thought the MVP of the entire run was, and last but not least, what you think the biggest mistake in the series was. If you have more than one answer, or for more than one player, that's fine too. I'm going to enjoy reading all of them. Anyways, thank you all for sticking with me throughout all these years, and I'm glad I got to finish this series once and for all. I'll see you guys in another video very soon. I actually have a bit of a surprise for you all that I can't wait to share with everyone. But that's a story for another video. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.